Lena had always been meticulous. Her apartment was a sanctuary of order. Books lined up perfectly on the shelves, her laundry folded precisely, her schedule meticulously planned down to the minute. But lately, that order had begun to unravel. It started with small lapses. She'd forget where she left her keys or the name of a coworker she'd just spoken to. At first, she attributed it to stress, to exhaustion from her demanding job. But the forgetfulness deepened, blending into a fog that refused to lift. Voices in her head, their whispers echoing softly at first, then growing louder and more insistent, became a part of her daily life. Lena's nights grew restless. During the day, she'd find herself wandering, lost in thoughts that felt distant, as if they belonged to someone else. Her reflection in the mirror sometimes looked strange, eyes hollower, her face unfamiliar and tired. Her friends noticed her decline but hesitated to confront her directly. She'd always been strong, independent, someone who didn't easily admit weakness. Then came the episodes. One evening, Lena was sitting at her dining table, trying to read a book she'd borrowed from the library. As she turned the page, she felt a sudden prickling at the back of her neck, followed by a seeping coldness in her chest. The room seemed to distort, the shadows stretching unnaturally, dancing with a life of their own. Her reflection flickered in the windowpane, and for a brief moment, she saw someone else's eyes staring back at her, a hollow, vacant gaze that made her stomach turn. Frightened, Lena shut the book abruptly, only to find that her hands trembled uncontrollably. Her thoughts grew chaotic, her mind echoing with dissonant voices, sometimes telling her she was worthless, sometimes commanding her to do things she knew she shouldn't. She had read about schizophrenia, about how voices could torment a person, but she'd always thought it was something distant, a story for others. The next day, she spent hours in her apartment, trying to keep everything together. Her phone buzzed. A message from her sister, Emily. Lena, I'm worried about you. Please talk to me. Lena stared at the screen. For a moment, she felt paralytic, unsure if she should respond. Then, a strange thought took hold, the voice in her head whispering that maybe her sister only saw her as fragile, as a burden. She wondered if it was better to disappear, to escape the chaos inside her mind. That night, Lena curled up on her bed, clutching her pillow tightly, listening to the voices swirl around her like a storm. The room was pitch black, except for the faint glow of her phone screen. She hesitated, then typed a reply. I'm fine. Don't worry. But she wasn't fine. The voices grew louder, merging into a cacophony that drowned out her senses. Shadows crept along the walls, whispering secrets only she could hear, about her past, her present, her fears. Then, suddenly, the lights flickered. Lena bolted upright, her heart pounding in her chest. She could see it. The silhouette of a figure just beyond the edge of her vision, tall and faceless, lurking in the dark. She blinked, and it was gone. She tried to dismiss it as her imagination, but deep inside, she knew better. Days blurred into nights. Her grip on reality slipped further. She started seeing things when no one else did. An unsettling figure waiting in her mirror, a hand reaching out from the shadows. Her reflection, once familiar, now seemed altered, eyes too hollow, smile too twisted. One evening, Lena snapped. She sat on the floor amid scattered papers and dishes, tears streaming down her face. Her mind was a jumble, a chaotic whirlwind of fear and paranoia. The voices yelled at her from every direction. She felt as if her brain was a prison she couldn't escape. She screamed, a raw, guttural sound that echoed through the empty apartment. Suddenly, she heard a knocking, soft and insistent. Startled, she looked up. Her door was ajar. She wasn't expecting company. Her heart hammered painfully as she tentatively approached. Peering outside, she saw no one, just the empty hallway stretching beyond her. Then, a chill ran down her spine as the knocking resumed. Louder, more urgent. Lena hesitated, then pushed the door open. Nobody was there, just a note on the ground. It read, "You're not alone." Her breath hitched, and a shiver ran through her. Her mind, already fragile, spiraled further into chaos. The shadows on the wall flickered menacingly, and in that moment, Lena realized that the enemy she fought wasn't just within her mind. It was the darkness that had seeped into her reality, feeding on her fear. She collapsed onto the floor, tears streaming anew. As the voices escalated to a deafening crescendo and the shadows closed in around her, Lena wished she could wake up from this nightmare. But deep inside, she knew, this wasn't a dream. It was her new reality, and she was losing her grip on it. And somewhere in the darkness, perhaps watching her with hollow eyes, something waited, something that fed on her despair, ready to drag her further into the abyss.